you know that food is much more than a basic necessity? It reflects country, history, tradition, values, and also way of life. Vietnamese cuisine is widely recognized by its fresh ingredients, balanced flavors, and also a healthy cooking method. Today, we will explore how Vietnamese food represents the country culture and how it becomes popular around the world.
Vietnam is located in Southeast Asia, bordering China, Laos, Cambodia, and the East Sea. It has a population of over 100 million people and its capital city is Hanoi. Vietnam has three main regions: North and Central and Southern Vietnam, and each region has its own unique cooking style. Despite these regional differences, all Vietnamese cuisine shares common values such as freshness, harmony, and family traditions.
Today, we have four objectives. First, we will know about history and background of Vietnamese food culture. Second, to know about the unique characteristics of Vietnamese cuisine that make it different from other Asian cuisine. Third, to examine how Vietnamese cuisine can become a global business and tourism attraction. And finally, we will know why the preserving traditional food is important for future generations. Vietnamese cuisine has developed from 1,000 years. Agriculture always be the main Vietnamese society, especially rice farming.
Rice became the staple food because Vietnam has fertile river deltas and a tropical climate suitable for growing rice. Today, rice remains the most important ingredient in Vietnamese meal.
Throughout history, Vietnamese has been influenced by different countries.
During Chinese rule, Vietnamese people adopted chopsticks, noodles, tofu, and stir-frying techniques. Later, during French colonial rule from the late 19th to the mid-20th century, French culture introduced bread, butter, pâté, coffee, and baking techniques. One famous result is banh mi, which combines a French baguette with traditional Vietnamese ingredients. Another example is Vietnam's unique coffee culture, which developed from coffee introduced during the colonial period.
Today, Vietnam people are still trying to maintaining their traditional identity. Modern chefs are using their traditional recipes with contemporary cooking method, and it makes Vietnamese cuisine suit for local people and international visitors.
So now I will talk about characteristics of Vietnamese cuisine. One of the most important characteristic in Vietnamese food is the use of fresh ingredients. The fresh ingredients is like rice, noodles, herbs, seafood, chicken, garlic, and lime. These ingredients will create a meal that is nutritious, colorful, and full of flavor. Here, Vietnamese food focus on 5 main tastes, which is sweet, sour, salty, bitter, and umami. Instead of making one flavor overtaking another, the Vietnamese chef are focused on harmony. This is because it reflects the Vietnamese philosophy of living with nature. So there are a few of famous Vietnamese food. The first one is pho. It is a noodle soup that is made of rice noodle, vegetable, and chicken or meat. The second one is banh mi. It is a crispy baguette filled with meat, vegetable, and sauces. And the last one is Vietnamese spring roll. It is made of shrimp, rice noodle, vegetable, and herbs that is wrapped in a rice paper. Did you know that Vietnam is one of the world's largest coffee producer? No, right? So Vietnam coffee is famous for its strong flavor and the traditional method of using a small metal called a fin. Some of the famous coffee is egg coffee, coconut coffee, and the Vietnamese iced coffee. Dining culture in Vietnam. Food in Vietnam usually connected with family in Vietnam. Meals are usually shared rather than served individually. Family members will sit together and share their food at the center of the table. This tradition strengthens family members and teach respect, especially to the elders. Vietnam has three major culinary regions. The first one is Northern Vietnam. Northern Vietnam has mild and delicate flavors. The second one is Central Vietnam, which they prefer to have a spicy and colorful dishes. And lastly, the Southern Vietnam. Southern Vietnam prefers to have prefer the sweetness, flavors, and use tropical fruit and also coconut milk frequently.
Now, let's talk about commercialization potential of Vietnam food. First, food tourism is one of the biggest attractions in Vietnam. Every year, millions of tourists visit Vietnam not only to see beautiful places, but also to enjoy authentic street food, visit traditional markets, and even joining cooking classes. Because of this, many people such as restaurant owner, local vendor, tour guide, and also farmer can earn an income and also can make job opportunities. Besides that, Vietnamese food has become one of the most popular around the world. Today, you can see a restaurant serving a pho and banh mi in countries like Malaysia, Singapore, and Australia. Vietnamese coffee and packaged food products are also exported to many countries. This is because they can support a country economy. However, there are still some challenges. Some restaurants change the traditional recipe to suit their local taste. While this makes the food appealing to a different customer, it can reduce the authenticity of Vietnamese food. So, it is important to preserve traditional cooking method while also allowing some innovation. This way, Vietnamese food can continue growing globally without losing their unique cultural identity.
For summary, Vietnamese food is much more than a collection of delicious cuisine. It is a reflection of Vietnam's history, traditions, and cultural identity. From our presentation, we can see that food are playing an important role in bringing families and communities together, like sharing meals, traditional recipes, and regional specialties. And not only that, it also preserves Vietnam's culture. We also discuss how Vietnam's cuisine has gained international recognition. Popular food such as pho, banh mi, and spring rolls are now enjoyed around the world, while Vietnam's coffee culture and culinary tourism are continue to contribute country's economy. This shows that food are not a country treasure, but also valuable economic assets. However, it is important to maintain its authenticity with support food local producer and pass the recipe from generation to other generation. Overall, Vietnamese food can connect people, history, and promote the cultural identity to the global stage. If we protect the traditions, we can make sure that future generation can enjoy the cultural generation of Vietnam.
It can reduce the authentic. Today, we will explain Semulati.
Tu je. Kan? This show.
One of what right? Vietnam has three major
Kan? Cuisine. Cuisine has gained international.
For become a popular Vietnamese food lah.
Lepas gila baru kau tutup ni lah.
In Vietnam, food, salah lah.
However, there are still have some challenges. Some challenges.
It's famous for its
Can
has three major culinary regions. The first bunyi lori guys, bunyi lori pula bus. Nampak guys?
Into contemporary